Hello everyone. Topic for this week is Farm Bill. I feel this is most important legislation of this century for the simple reason we all have a soft corner for farmers in our hearts. So when we hear about farmer suicide, we feel aggrieved. We also believe that farmers are duped by middlemen, and when farmers are going to get a better income on their produce, we'll feel happy. So this bill essentially try to address that. After all, Indian economy is an agriculture-based economy. So before getting into features of the bill, as usual, let me provide some background. So why we need this bill? I mean, there are many reasons why this farm bill was mooted on 5th June 2020, but the primary reason is I believe there are three reasons why, major reasons why this bill was mooted. One is, as part of the election manifesto, the government promised to double farm income by 2022. I think they need to have a mechanism for that. So this bill pave way for that. The other thing is marketplace. Farmers also produce commodities. Other industries and market sectors, they also manufacture, produce commodities and goods. So they do have, they can sell the product anywhere in India, they can export, but still now the farmers can only sell their product in the mandi or the APMC. So that needs to change. So this bill endeavors to address that gap. Third and most importantly, the Standing Committee on Agriculture, which was set up in 2018 to basically they observed that the APMC laws, APMC is nothing but Agriculture Produce Marketing Committee, which comes under the state government, were not implemented in true spirit, and there is an urgent necessity for reforms in this space. So these are the main reasons, in my opinion, why a farm bill is required. And the APMC, the committee also further went on to add that there are three areas of concern. One is the APMC is managed by only a handful of traders, so there is scope for cartelization. New participants, market players are not allowed, so there is no competition. Most importantly, they levy commission charges, which basically reduce the farmers' profits. So with this background, let us try to understand what are the features of the bill. The bill or the policy is basically encompasses three ordinances. We all know that ordinance, when it is passed by both the lower and upper house of the parliament and the presidential assent is given, it becomes a law. So for these three ordinances are already passed in the Lok Sabha on 17 September. In Rajya Sabha, two of the three ordinances are basically passed or approved in Rajya Sabha. Third is not tabled yet. So the first among them is the Farmer Produce Trade and Commerce Promotion and Facilitation Ordinance 2020. So it basically talks about the marketplace. So this ordinance allows intra-state, interstate movement of farm produce. So now farmers have got two options. Either they can sell that farm produce in APMC or areas notified by the state government, or they can also directly sell the goods to their potential buyers or consumers of the farm produce, which is otherwise called as outside trade area. So basically, beside this, it also gives electronic trading facility to basically buy and sell of farm produce. This is digitization is new to many of the small farmers, but in the longer run, I believe it will be helpful to them. The most important feature is market fee is abolished. So this is the reason why vested interests and some of the political parties are vehemently opposing this bill, because currently in the current regime, a market fee is levied by the state governments, and beside the commission which is being charged by the middleman. So that's I mean, especially for state like Punjab, Haryana, wherein there is, I mean, 8.5% of the state revenue is coming from this market fee. So now they are going to lose that, and it's going to be farmers' gain. So most importantly, so moving on to the second ordinance, which talks about the farming agreement. Basically, the ordinance name is the farmers' empowerment and protection on price assurances and farm services bill 2020. So this talks about farming agreement. So the outside trade area concept, wherein it provides for an agreement to be entered between the farmer and the buyer. The buyer could potentially be your wholesale vegetable vendors or your anachis, or it could be food processing industries or corporates which basically consume the agriculture or the farm produce. So the agreement can be signed for a minimum period of one crop season or up to 5 years if the production cycle is not within 5 years period. So it is basically signed before the beginning of the farm produce season. Okay, after the agreement should inter alia contain few important things, that the price of the commodity should be spelled out in the agreement. Suppose a farmer is selling 1,000 quintals of wheat or rice, so the per unit price should be mentioned in the agreement. So in some of the produce where there is a variance expected, so the threshold should be mentioned in the agreement, and the agreement also should state, among other things, the agreement also should state, the pricing mechanism. So how the price is determined, that also should be stated in the agreement. So whenever there is an agreement, there is bound to be disputes. So this ordinance talks about the dispute redressal or resolution mechanism as well. So there are three levels. In the agreement, in the farming agreement itself, the conciliatory board should be constituted. So we should have members from both the parties, seller as well as a farmer as well as the buyers. So in case of grievance, this conciliation board should be approached first, and they are supposed to provide redress the grievance within 30 days. So if the parties to the are not happy with this, the second level, they can move to subdivisional magistrates within the jurisdiction, and the third level is appellate authority, which is basically headed by the collector or deputy collector rank. So both subdivisional magistrate and appellate authority has got 30 days to redress the grievance, and they can also have powers to levy penalties on the contravening party. So if the party is a farmer, you cannot, there is clear cut, this policy has spelled out that you can't confiscate the agricultural land for the overdues or the dues from the farmer's side. So that's basically protecting farmers' interests. The third ordinance, which was not tabled in the Rajya Sabha, is Essential Commodities Amendment Ordinance 2020. So we have Essential Commodities Acts 1995, wherein it gives powers to the central government both to classify a commodity as an essential commodity and have control over the production, supply, distribution channels, basically the trade and commerce of those commodities. So in this amendment to that amendments ordinance, basically 6 commodities are removed from the classification of essential commodities, which are pulses, cereals, potatoes, onions, oil seeds and oil. So basically what it provides the farmer with 2 advantages. One is he need not maintain a stockpile on these commodities. He can sell enhanced volume of the commodities as well as at a better price. So there is a caveat here, only under 4 extraordinary circumstances all these commodities will come under the ambit of essential commodities, which are basically at times of war, famine or natural calamity, or when the prices of the commodity has escalated, so the retail price of the commodities are escalated hugely in the specific period. So it can be the current price vis-a-vis the price 12 months before, or retail price of in the last 5 years, average retail price in the last 5 years. So that's what they have classified. So this basically sums up the policy in per se. Let me talk about the pros and cons. I see there are a lot of pros vis-a-vis cons. One is the marketplace is widened as part of this policy. The farmer can fix the rate. So depending upon demand and supply, it gives him the privilege to fix the rate. He is expected to get a better revenue because he need not pay market fee or market levy or commissions if he sell outside the trade area. Basically, I think there's an potential exponential growth opportunity for a farmer because he can grow from a local supplier to an exporter. And most importantly, because of the disparity in the income, we know that many people have migrated from rural to urban places. So there is an opportunity to bring those back, bring them to agriculture business because of the tremendous opportunity it provides. I think from the con side, I think the opposition or harping on the fact that similar concept was introduced in 2006 in Bihar, but it failed. The main reason was market infrastructure was not built in. So that is a potential area which the government has to focus on, and creating awareness about to the farmers, especially the low, medium size farmers, because they need to get the message right and should not be treated by the fake news from vested interests. In a nutshell, I see that government has taken some steps on the market infrastructure. Just to quote an example, the last 6 months when the railways under lockdown, the only income is not the commuter income but only the freight income. So freight income, we all know, traditionally they have been getting income by when movement of maybe charcoal or cement or agricultural commodities, or sometimes occasionally when people migrate, then their vehicles are migrated through railways. These are the freight business which we are aware of. In the last few months, there are a lot of commodities which are added to this list by our railways minister. Now we see tractor equipment are transacted. We see lorries are transported through railways. I see in the near future a lot of opportunities to enhance freight income for the railways. So this agriculture income also can be added to that list. So this is in a nutshell the farm bill, the pros and cons, the features, as well as what is the background to this farm bill. I hope it is interesting and informative to all the viewers. As usual, if there are any questions, please post on the comments column. And also I will encourage you to please like, subscribe to my videos and share. Until we meet next week, thanks, take care.